Hey everyone, if you're joining this show, this was recorded yesterday for Amazon Live. But unfortunately, I forgot to record it on our machine. So I'm redoing the show for our audience on Facebook and YouTube. So enjoy the show.
What an exciting day. You're about to finish that project you've been working on, right? And then disaster strikes. You found out your cable run is more than 330 feet long. What's the big deal? Well, if you're like me, you feel really betrayed the first time you realize that the world-spanning internet that allows you to scream your best Fortnite insults at some Korean kid halfway around the world can only run 100 meters on an Ethernet cable. That's like what? 330 feet? That's not even a football field. And it's making your project that much harder. You would have thought the IT brains could have figured this out by now. Well, the answer is they have. That's where Power over Ethernet comes in. With Power over Ethernet, you can go much, much further. So join us on today's show while I show you how to break the Ethernet barrier.
Hey y'all, welcome to PoE Texas and our home base here in Austin, Texas. It's Tyler Andrews, the head nerd here at PoE Texas. And today I'm going to talk to you about how you can break the 100-meter Ethernet barrier using Power over Ethernet. And you'll even see the products we use to make that happen. First, let's talk briefly about why Ethernet signals break down over distance and why you even have to extend Ethernet. For full explanation, I have to get physical. Okay, I know that's a bad joke. It's an engineer joke. Hey, but I'm an engineer. I can do those jokes. Seriously, it's okay. In all seriousness, in the physical layer of Ethernet, the signal is actually carried by a 2.5 volt signal. Sorry, that didn't come out right. It's the signal is only 2.5 volts, and that's not a lot. When you set the volts when you set the volts to a plus 2.5 volts, we call that a 1. When you set the when you set the volts to a negative 2.5 volts, we call it a 0. Thus, a bit of binary is born. And boys and girls, when a 1 and 0 get together and love each other very much, 8 times to be exact, we call it a byte. Oh, the magic of logic. But even the best wires in the world have some resistance. And we can blame this famous German called George Simon Ohm. Blame you, Ohm. He made Ohm's law, which tells us that what starts out in the beginning as 2.5 volts wears away as it trudges down the long cable in the form of resistance. You can see my friend here. He's going along, but he's starting to get tired, and now he's getting really tired. And over that 100 meters, the signal dies. So, our good friends at IEEE, pronounced IEEE, important name you need to know, tell all your friends, set a standard that as long as you're using Cat 5 or better cable, your network signal has to work up to 100 meters or 330 feet. And so that's what we all do. Yes, for my detail-oriented friends out there, of course, some brave souls have made switches and cables that can go further than that minimum 100 meters. But like all good standardized testing situations, if you can just do the minimum, why wouldn't you? All very interesting, you say. But what has Power over Ethernet got to do with how far Ethernet signals can travel? I'm so glad you asked. So remember that measly plus 2.5 volts, minus 2.5 volt signal? Well, with Power over Ethernet, you can see here on the bottom, this is he's supercharged on Power over Ethernet. The signal gets to ride on a supercharged tsunami of power up to 56 volts. That's more than 20 times higher than the data signal. Much like a real tsunami, that wave can travel much further. Yes, the 24-volt signal still tuckers out at about 100 meters. We can use that tsunami of power to create a truck stop where the 2.5-volt signal can get a shot of caffeine, stretch his legs, and head out for another 100 meters. Then, when it gets tired again, we boost the signal again. Rinse and repeat until the 56 volts goes too far down to keep powering. How far is that? Depending on what you're powering on the other end, it can be over a kilometer. Let's pull this up here so you can see. There you go. You can see our table here that we have on our technical information with the different capacities that you can achieve. Here at the top, you can see if you're doing less than 6 watts, you're talking a kilometer and a half using an 802.3 BT switch. And the more power you draw, the shorter the run goes, but you're still talking well over a kilometer. And here's where you save time and money with PoE. If you need to get your data signal just a little bit further, you could buy a media converter to change your Ethernet signal into a wireless backhaul. Think a really powerful Wi-Fi access point that directionally beams your data along the line of sight. Or you could change it into fiber optic or into some analog signal that runs on a coax cable. But I still haven't found anyone handing out free media converters. Please comment in the comment section below if you know where to find them, because I want them too. So, why pay to change your data into a wireless signal or convert to fiber optic or analog when you can go just a little further with PoE? So, if you're ready to break the Ethernet barrier, we'll talk about how you take PoE 2.3 AF or PoE Plus 2.3 AT, and even some odd forms of passive 24 48 volt PoE to something over the 100-meter limit. First, to make sure you don't have to keep running to Home Depot again and again to get more parts, let's talk through the key considerations you need to make. By the way, a little side note, I was once told that my 10th time in Home Depot in one day, they do have groups for people who can't stop going to Home Depot. You can get help. It's a 10-step process. You can't get out of Home Depot. So, the key questions to consider are: where will you locate the PoE extender? Will it be inside or outside? Do you need waterproof, or will it be inside a building or enclosure? Very important question for the form factor we're going to be talking about. How and where will you mount it in case you ever need to get back to it? You don't want to bury these in the ground or hide them in a wall or tuck them in a place where you can never get back to them, because somebody will figure out that the run is longer than it needs to be and can't figure out why it's not working, or will be looking for your solution. So think about where you're going to mount it. What am I powering? How much power does it draw? Meaning, does it need PoE, plain Jane PoE, or does it need PoE Plus? Does it need some passive form of PoE? And then answer the question, does it need 10100 data or gigabit? So get all those answers. Got those answers first? Then, using those conditions, let's discuss the applications we're leveraging PoE will save you time and money over other data transmission options by showing you a couple of configurations. All right, so the first one, you're trying to find the right place to put an exterior mounted security camera on a large property. For some crazy reason, you don't want all your security cameras to be within 300 feet of the nearest switch. Well, as long as you're less than that kilometer and a half, you can power the camera and do data. Sorry, you can run the camera power data where you want the cameras to be. In this case, I'm going to show you the basic outdoor 200-meter configuration with a new GPOE extender. So I'm going to turn the board of configuration on. You can see my beautiful relocation of the board of configuration here, and I'm going to take this one off. This will come later in the show. This is the GPOE extender, the 802.3 BT version of it, and a couple of key features that I'll show you is it is IP67 rated, which means it's rated for outdoor use. It can get sprayed with water, it can get rained on water, but it is not rated to be submerged in water. Don't put this into a pool or dig a hole, fill it with water, and drop it in there. It will damage it. So it has these glands on the end. So the use is, and I'll make sure I point it out here while I'm here. Notice the in and the out. It is directionally important to know. And you'll notice you've got these glands that come out that have these. We'll be able to get this, I swear. Come on out. Here we go. They've got these rubber boots in them that will go around your Ethernet cable. So I happen to have an Ethernet cable here that I'm going to connect to my switch. Here we are on the switch. Now, you'll notice that Ethernet cable really doesn't fit through this rubber boot if you've got your head on it. Now, you can either make a new cable, or in this case, what I've done is I've swapped out and I have taken and used a very sharp knife to cut. I'll hold it up here. Maybe you can see a little bit better. Probably not. To cut open the ring, and that will simply clamp onto the cable. Now, but first, you got to get these in order. So start with the outside ring, start with the clamper, and then put this guy on. And there you go. And what you'll do is you'll insert it in. And with the GPOE extender, it has a indicator lights that are showing you when you've got your data and your power transmission. Right there you go. So you just close that up. And you go. You got your first side made up. Then make sure you're going in through the inside, and then you go out the out port. And you'll be able to extend this. Now, this is an example. And we're going to, remember, go ring first, gray one with the slotted holes toward your outside connector. Reach in, plug it in. You get that click, and there you go. You've got your configuration to go 200 meters or 330 feet. That's a great start. Now, you can also extend this again with another extender using the same product. I've got a second one here. Similar situation. You just plug it in. I'm not going to show the glands again. I'm assuming you guys don't need to see that. And you can see the LED indicator lights triggered. Now, this is a configuration for up to 200 meters or 666 feet. And you keep following this pattern to extend further and further. In this case, I know I'm using a 802.3 AT switch, which means it's PoE plus. My maximum range is about a kilometer, 6-watt device at the other end. So this is the new GPOE extender, which is just launched on Amazon, on our store, and the New A Business. So find us and our products, and you'll find product links below. And there should be like an eye floating around somewhere here, probably over there, that you click on, and you'll find the product. So we've done that one, friends. Get these out of the way. The next one to do, I'll set this here. The next one is you're doing an installation inside a building. It's working really well. You've got everything lined up. You've done your measurements. You're spot on. You're right on the money. And with your 100-meter distance, you're running your cable. Some dude mounted a duct or an elevator shaft right in the way, and you can't get around it. Well, what do? Do you just run that extra 340 feet and take the chance that the data signal will be good and you got a good switch? I don't recommend it. It's going to be too much pain and too much headache. And that is where the next product we'll be talking about will come into play. This one is our indoor switch that you'll find. It is the AT extender. Now, the way the AT extender works is that it can extend 802.3 AT power onto the next device. Now, what's cool about it is that this is reversible and it will pass on the data. Now, one thing to note, this guy is only 10100. So what I can show you here is, you'll plug it into a wall port. It's designed so that you can easily connect to a wall port and make the connection, and then it will pass on. You're not going to see the lights here. It's not going to turn on until it connects to an end device. Once it connects to the end device, it'll establish connection and power on for you. But it's really that simple to connect this guy and get it to run the extra 200 meters for your inside application in 100 up to PoE plus power. Very cool and a very handy tool. Again, you'll find it on our store or you'll find it on Amazon. Now, my third scenario has to do with the less common one, but still so important. And I am going to switch over my title here. I'm going to dive off to the side. My part has done a kamikaze off the side of the table. Be right back. I'm back. I found it. Here we go. So the next is for my wireless internet service provider brothers out there, the line of sight. This is the dreaded condition that burns you up because you found the right tower, right price, right signal, and there's a tree, there's a building, or there's some terrain in the way. What do? How do you deal with it? Well, you could, as you know, you guys are more experts than I am at this. You could build another wireless station to jump over the obstacle. You could find another tower with good line of sight that may have less than optimal conditions or end up costing you more. Or you can run PoE long to around the obstacle to the signal side of the obstruction. With the right chain of PoE extenders, you can literally get around any obstacles in the last 900 feet of your point-to-point, point-to-multipoint network. And this got mounted a little bit high. It's cutting off my head, but this is the PoE extender, and the PoE extender, it will do anything from 12 up to 56 volts, and so it makes it a very powerful tool that lets you connect to things like Ubiquiti, Microtech. It even works with Cambium EPM P450 with the right types of cables and converters. And we'll include that in our blog below so that you can find that. So this one, again, it's a very simple installation. You plug it in on one end. It will extend the power out to the other. And voila, 200 meters right there. And you can get multiple ones of these in a chain to run that longer distance that you need. And it's a very simple product to set up and configure. Now, finally, let's talk about some basic troubleshooting so you can handle the normal types of issues that will come up. uh, here. In the immortal words of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, don't panic. We can get through this. Grab your towel and let's get started. So the first troubleshooting that you're looking at is no power, no lights, nothing when you plug it in the first time. So the couple of questions that you want to answer are: number one, are you using the right PoE with the right extender? For example, you don't want to have a PoE plus extender trying to run on a PoE switch, running a PoE plus device at the other end. You're just not going to have power, and it could turn off the power. Switches off the switch light. So check your configuration, making sure that where you start and where you end all work. Next, have you plugged it in the right direction? Remember, I pointed this out earlier. There is an in port and there is an out port. Make sure you go PoE into the in port and PoE out of the out. I want to make sure you get that right direction. 3, have you double checked your run length to make sure you have not exceeded the amount of power you can transmit over the full length of the run? And I will tell you, if you want to know and you don't want to sit down and do a whole bunch of math, start with the PoE calculator. I'll add the link to our PoE calculator in the comments below. And with that calculator, you just take the device you're charging, add 3 to 3.5 watts. I'd estimate 3.5 watts per extender to that load. So let's say I have a 6-watt camera. I have 3 extenders. The 3 extenders are 3.5, 7, 10.5. So you do 10.5 plus 6. You're already looking at a PoE plus situation because you're looking at 16.5 watts. Now, with your switch, you plug in with the PoE calculator, you plug that 16.5 watts in the calculator. You put in the type of PoE, length of the run, and then it'll tell you if you have overrun the length. If you're doing it by hand, you just want to make sure you don't go under 42 volts at the other end, and you can confirm that with a PoE. Finally, you'll want to double check to make sure your switch and extender have the same mode and polarity. Check our data sheets. The data sheets for our products will give the mode and polarity, and that's really important because every once in a while you get a kind of a fickle switch who doesn't like to talk to certain products. And we'll talk about what to do if you run into that situation in a little bit. How do you get help? But in the meantime, we are going to let's see if this is it. There you go. Now you got lights on, and it may be hard to tell at this point. There's kind of a muddy water, but it may be hard to tell because with some security cameras, they're very careful to make sure they have no indicator whether the camera is on or not. Sometimes you might need to pull out a PoE tester to check. I use a tester all the time with security cameras, and they do that because they don't want people to know what. Very smart, but it does make troubleshooting for the first time a little bit harder. The first thing you want to try out when you're doing this is, and I'll just leave my configuration table board of configuration up so I can show you. Pull out your cable tester and make sure you have terminated your pins correctly. It's the first thing you always check, right? I don't know about that. Now, do a ping test to your end device to tell if you've got communication. Remember I told you cameras won't show you if they have communication? Well, that's obvious for security reasons, but they will respond to a ping. Now, for example, our 802.3 AT switch right here will actually do a ping watchdog, ping your device repeatedly, the camera, on a set time frame, and will reset the PoE if it ever doesn't reach it. But you might want to ping to make sure you've got communication. If you ping it, it replies. You know you've got data communication. There's configuration setup. I'll get to that in my last part. But if you still haven't got data, now this may sound totally silly, but I can't tell you how many times I've done this. double check whether you're plugged into the network. And is there the right connectivity to the right device? I can't tell how many times I've had a computer. I'm sitting there banging the computer saying, "Why aren't you talking? Why aren't you talking?" And then I just only to find out that they weren't actually on the same network. Don't worry. I won't tell anybody. If you call and we find out that's your problem, secret safe with me. You don't have to worry about it. Finally, remember I told you to come back to the camera question. I know it's got power. I pinged it. It's got data. Still can't talk to it. My big number one rule is whenever you can, bench test and configure in the shop. There are Wi-Fi there's backhaul things, and yes, I'm talking about Ubiquiti, that have to connect directly to a computer to configure before you can install them. And there is nothing more painful than to be outside on a tower trying to juggle a laptop, or up on top of a ladder juggling a laptop trying to configure a camera or a Wi-Fi radio. You just don't want to do it. Do your configuration back in the office, double check your communication set up there, then take it out. Believe me, it is more than worthwhile. So now, what happens when you've done all this and you still don't have what you need going for you? Well, before you go office space on the printer, and in fast fact, by the way, office space was based here in Austin. You can always call your Austin-based technical support team here at PoE Texas at 512-479-0317. Again, 512-479-0317. I'll put it in the information below. You can also email service@poetexas.com. We don't hide this information. It will be readily accessible below. And we will have all the technical information we've discussed today available on our blog on this topic in the data sheets and those devices. Again, in the links below. Those links are packed, you guys. You'd be shocked. But remember, don't forget to see more, because I can't put them all like in the first line. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So this has been a very interesting show, and thank you all for sticking around with me to watch this show. Hopefully, it has been helpful. Hopefully, you learned some valuable things and found this time useful for you. At a minimum, we've got a discount code. This is a special Amazon discount code. You go to Amazon when you're checking out. You use this. You use the 15 PoE extend code. You're going to get 15% off any one of the products that I've shown today, all the way up until September 4th. All right, go get that now. If you find our show interesting or helpful, please share it with your friends and colleagues. Share it with everybody you know, because you might be shocked if you hit the share button when we send you the invitation, or share the show with your friends, your colleagues, even your customers. You might be shocked to find out that sharing these shows on your social channels and with those you work with will increase your reputation as an expert and increase your business. So we will be back every fourth Wednesday of the month on Amazon, and I'll remember to record it this time so I don't have to do the show twice. But next month, very exciting month, we are launching our new PoE to USB-C revision 2 adapter. A lot of you gave us feedback. Hey, my iPad Gen 3, it's shutting down the PoE port. It's not working. It was one of those things that caught us totally off guard with how the budgeting works with USB-C, but we've got it fixed now for you. We've updated the profiles, and the revision 2 will be able to power the iPad Pro and the Surface Go through USB-C, which is very exciting, and they'll do it on PoE Plus. So we appreciate you coming to our show today. I'm going to make sure that the end credits come up. Thank you for coming, and we wish you all a happy day, and we'll see you at the next show.